This is Steve Gill with Autologue. I'm joined today by Charlie Boscarino. He's our National Sales Manager. And the gentleman that will be presenting is Bob Pisano. He's the GM of SBC and also a member of the sales team. We're going to start out by letting Charlie do just a quick overview, and he'll be able to give us a brief introduction, and then Bob is going to go into the presentation. You're all on mute right now. If you have a question, there's a little button you can push to raise your hand. There's also a little place at the bottom where you can type in a question. I'll be monitoring the questions, and this webinar is being recorded. So if you have any questions, you can wait until the end if you'd like. We're going to open up the microphone and let people talk at the end, or I can answer typed questions, and if it's something that's important, then just go ahead and raise your hand and we'll address it at that time. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Charlie, and you should be able to see his screen.
Steve, thank you very much, and everybody that's joined us today, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking a little bit of your day to learn about our ePaperless Office program. We're going to try to keep the webinar to about 30 minutes, and as Steve said, we should have time at the end to answer questions, and so if you can wait till the end of the presentation, we'll answer questions then, or raise your hand as Steve suggested, and type your questions in on your little chat box there. So let's get started. So welcome to Paperless Office. Paperless Office is a cloud-based solution to tedious paper-based processes. You know, people ask, why should I use ePaperless Office? And there's really several reasons. First, it can help you improve your company's image. The ePaperless Office is a program that you can use internally, and it's also a program that your customers can use to see their statements and invoices online. It can improve communication and efficiency. We can eliminate a bunch of phone calls. We can allow several people in the organization access to this information at the touch of a fingertip, as well as all of the customers. It can improve customer service. You know, customers are always looking for credits and signed copies, and putting everything online, basically at a touch of a finger, they have access to all of that information. Ultimately, it can even save you money. If we get away from the monthly mailing of statements, ePaperless Office actually is less money than the cost of a stamp. And all of us have been hearing about going green and going paperless, and ePaperless Office is an excellent first step if you haven't started to go paperless in your business in terms of going paperless. So what are some of the benefits of ePaperless Office? Well, just think about all of the boxes of invoices and statements you have in the office or in the attic. We're going to reduce office clutter tremendously. It's going to improve the efficiency of the AR department. Because everything is on the cloud and accessible from one place, the AR department will become extremely more efficient in terms of handling customer issues. It's a value-added service. Your customers expect more than for you just to be a parts supplier. So here we can basically give them your version of online banking, and it's just an added benefit that you provide for your customers and separates you from your competition. You have improved record keeping. Basically, we are going to begin to file for you and for your customers all of their invoices, credits, statements, and payments online, and we'll store them for 7 years. At the end of the day, ePaperless Office is going to increase productivity, efficiency, and your customer service. Now Bob is going to go through the ePaperless Office program to show you how it actually works.
Hey, thanks, Charlie. Bob, I'm going to turn the screen over to you, and you can take it from here.
Thank you, Charlie and Steve. As Charlie mentioned, ePaperless Office is a benefit dually, both to your customer and to to the store itself. And we provide a login for both the customer and for the store itself. I'm going to go through the administration login first, and you will be given or assigned a store ID and a unique password. And by the way, we offer 2 passwords. Many customers allow their counter personnel access in a limited password mode, so they can answer a lot of questions before they ever get to the AR department. Again, saving a lot of time. As you notice on the admin screen, there's a lot of things that we can do. We can recall any customer. If you're a multi-store, you only have one single login. We chain all the stores together, so that customer number, no matter what store he's in, will come up. Invoice number, no matter what in your organization, it can recall an invoice number. We have many customers who scan their invoices because they want to get signed copies online. There's multiple ways of doing that. Scanning is one of them. And you can recall all the scanned invoices for a period of time for a customer, or as listed below, flag customers. If I have 6 customers that want all their invoices for the month, I could print them all at one time. Also with scanning, we can give you a list of whatever invoices are missing scans so that you could double check that you got every signed invoice that you're supposed to have. You can create an invoice summary by a date range. I want to see what I did this week, and it's in the middle of the month. I can do that. Statements report. A statement report just basically tells you how many statements has been created for your customers that month. It basically the same amount of statements that you would print and mail out. ePaperless Office usage. We had a customer one time that says, how do I know they got the email? Well, you can't tell somebody if they got snail mail either, but we can at least tell you if they've logged in, looked at invoices, we're tracking everything. It's also a pretty good indicator that you're giving a service to customers that customers are actually using. There's a host of miscellaneous options that are available. You can send an email blast to all your customers. You can do marketing. You can announce holiday hours. Just a multitude of things that you could do by email that is all free. Miscellaneous functions. You could set up a unique statement message so that every time they do go into a statement, you could thank them for your business, tell them where to direct any billing inquiries, holiday messages. You can change them at will and have a new message every month. You could set up a unique statement email message attached as your statement, or you can click here and go right to the site and view anything you want. Basically, you're creating a unique message for both statements, invoices, and customer email tab here is just so that you can import and export all your email addresses quite quickly. You could change customer numbers, and you could delete customer data. And to reiterate about the limited password, we eliminate a lot of these things from the limited password so that counter personnel can't make any changes or delete any data, that type of thing. I'm going to demonstrate how to get a customer up. And basically, if I know the customer number, obviously I could type in the customer number. If I know any part of his name, I'm going to just type any part of his name. I typed in Rambo. I'm looking for J. Rambo Company. I select that customer, click on the select button, and it will expose all the current invoices for the current month. And usually it's very quick, but when you're going through a webinar like this, it kind of slows things down, and I apologize for that. No, this is embarrassing, right, guys? It has never taken this long. I really do apologize. I'm going to try another. Make sure it's not my browser. Oh, it's up. Okay. It defaults to the top 10 invoices. Obviously, if there's more invoices, I can pick how many I want to see at one time or just select all. Every invoice number becomes a link. So it's a hyperlink that I could just click on. And when I click on it, I can see the original invoice. Very quickly, I can print it, download it as I please. This is a customer who actually scans the signed copy We provide them with a program that reads a barcode on the invoice and attaches the scanned copy directly to the correct invoice, so all their signed copies are saved and online. It gives you the data that's on that invoice. I can actually click on this part number, and it will show me every invoice that was ever on, that part number was billed. Now, this is searched through a 70-store base that does virtually $25 million worth of volume a year. So as long as it took me to log in, it found all those invoices pretty quick. Okay. Statement page. If I click on the statement, it's going to expose this current statement. You'll see that there's a drop-down box so that every statement that we've created for them since they've been on the system is being stored electronically. This is your electronic file cabinet for you you can reconcile any statement for any month, any year since you've been on the system. If you want to email that statement as a PDF, you can email it just by the click of a button here. If I actually want to view what the actual statement looks like, and many customers like to do this, it'll just pop it up. Okay. Now, when you're in the statement, and I'm going to go through the reconciled checkbox when I get to the customer portion of this. Again, every invoice number does have is a hyperlink that's associated with it. I can click on it. It takes me right to that invoice. I could look at the scanned copy. And as I mentioned before, there's multiple ways to get signatures online. If you have a signature capture device with your credit card machine, we actually capture that signature on charge invoices. If you're using our delivery management program, it captures it on the delivery. So in either case, there's 3 different ways to get signatures up, and none of them are difficult. Okay. If I click on my balance tab here, it will give me a complete aging for this customer. If I click on my payments tab, it's going to show me the current month's payment and any other payments that I want to look at. So if I want to see last month, it'll bring it up. If I want to see last year's and any month last year, I can look very, very quickly. The delivery tracking, as I mentioned, is for seeing how many deliveries you had, when they were started, who the driver that took it was, what time you got your items. If you set up, in the setup portion here, if you set up an email address in either the statement email or the invoice email, the minute an invoice is created, it will send it. You also have the option of choosing whether you want an original invoice emailed or a scanned copy or both even. You can have multiple addresses as well. So for those customers who sometimes don't always turn in an invoice, I'm going to email the accounts payable department of my customer a copy of that invoice immediately. Now, that is the admin screen. I'm going to log off of here. And on the admin screen at the bottom, there's a customer login screen as well. When I click that, obviously there's different information that's needed. The store ID, the customer number, and a password that's set up in the system. Once that customer is logged in once as a customer, his cookies will save this information at the bottom so that the next time all he's got to do is click on login. Now, we mentioned that this was dual purpose. For the customer, he's not going to have an admin option screen. He's going to have invoice recall, and all the other functionality for statements, balances, payments is all right here. Here's a customer with e-delivery. It's going to basically pull up all his deliveries for either 7 days, 30 days, 365 days. They can click on invoices. They can see what they've gotten delivered. They still got some deliveries on the way today. I'm going to go back to invoice. And when I choose all, one of the most important things with a customer, and a huge benefit, is that when customers see credits right away, they're very, very impressed, and it just builds their confidence in the store. So every credit is the minute it's created, it's on the sheet, and they'll see it. We can even add an image. So if you've got customers that like to leave a drop-off slip of what they've picked up, you can add that image right to this. And basically you can have proof of what was picked up by the driver. Okay, many customers basically wait till till the end of the month or the next time they have a delivery to send copies of credits. When they see them immediately, many times and oftentimes it's resulted in more volume from that customer because that confidence is so well built. Let's look at statements here. Now here's where a customer can actually reconcile his statement online. The old way of doing things is you had a stack of invoices, you had your statement, you checked them off, found it on the statement. When you were done, you stapled that list of invoices to the statement. If they filed it into a file cabinet, when the file cabinet got filled up, you put it in a box, and when the box got filled up, it went to the attic or the basement. This is your electronic basement, your electronic attic, your electronic file cabinet. You can basically get that invoice. I've got this one. I've got this one. I've got this one. Wait a minute. I don't have this one. And go right to the invoice number and look at the original invoice and look at everything about it. This is a customer who's using a different format invoice. Whatever format you're using, that's what we actually send up. Okay. Back to the statement, we're adding, matter of fact, it is added already to where the customer can pay online with either an electronic check or a credit card. You have the option to pick either or both. If you have big customers that are paying you by check every month and it's a huge amount and you don't want to have to be subjected to credit card fees, you set them up with ACH. It's about a 10 cent or 20 cent per transaction billing or charging, and you get paid right away, and we send you an email that this customer paid. If he's open item, we'll send you a list of the invoices he paid. Okay? Customer can add his own email addresses in if he wants. All he's got to do is click on his setup and go right to it. We do have documentation on here to where there'll be some training videos. The ones that are on there are from our old screens. It still gives you an idea of how it works. They're going to all be updated very shortly. Back to invoice recall. If that customer logs off, he can quickly log back in anytime he wants. That basically concludes what I wanted to show, unless, Charlie, Steve, do you have anything that you think I missed? If not, I'd like to open it up for questions.
Okay. I will, if anybody has a question, just push your little button to raise your hand. Other than that, I can unmute people.
Oh. Not unmuted. I just get unmuted. I didn't get
Yeah. Well, I know part of it.
Clint, did you have a question?
What, somebody else get the invoice you can't do anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless we got like portable devices.
David, you have a question?
Hi, yes. Got an issue or a question regarding this. My large customers, the big companies, no problem. Totally get it. But we have a lot. We're an economic depressed area. We have a lot of people that are single practitioners, backyard mechanics, shade tree. I don't know if they're sophisticated enough. I mean, they're all having phones, but they still want to see copies. I mean, I've tried just emailing their statements to them. They don't mind getting the email, but they still want the statement delivered. You got any response back?
Okay, well,
are you guys having any issues with that? I mean, are people doing this and finding out they're not using it?
That's actually quite common. That's why in most management systems you have the option to choose which customers you print statements for and which you don't. You're never going to get 100% conversion. You're going to have some of those guys like you described, and we can't help that. You want to service them just as well. But the thing to remember is this is a benefit for you internally. That customer, regardless of how he wants his invoices or statements, he still has trail copies of invoices that are in your store and normally stored in the basement. So you'll still be getting the benefit for that customer that you would have for any customer. The difference is this is one guy that wants his stuff mailed, and I don't think you're ever going to get 100% of your customers 100% on board with this. You're going to have some of those guys. And for you guys, I understand where you are, and I agree. There's going to be guys that just aren't that technical, and that's just the way it is. Some of them you just have to deal with using paper, just like anybody else.
Okay, because 90% of my customers, really, I wouldn't even give monthly charge accounts to.
Okay.
So I can see this going to be and that's the ones I'm most concerned with. The big companies I don't have an issue with. So what's the cost
remember,
per
this is.
I heard him say monthly charge. I wondered if they were going to say how much. Most of these customers.
What is the cost per person?
Yes.
If your customer is a charge customer, you do a statement for him. Your monthly fee is based on how many statements you print. If all of your shade tree guys are cash, you'll never get charged for them. So, number one, they wouldn't get a statement. But if they were somebody that was a shade tree mechanic that did get a statement, then it would cost 30 cents per month for him. If he's a weekly statement, you only get billed once per month for that guy. Even if you run 50 statements a month for him, you only get billed once. So it's 30 cents per charge customer, per statement printed. That's the way we calculate it.
Steve, I'd like to respond to one other thing, Steve. Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
I have a customer in Alabama that his concerns were pretty much the same. I don't have a lot of sophisticated customers, and basically I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do this. Well, more and more customers, like you just mentioned earlier, are carrying computers on their belts. They've got smartphones. And so many more of them are using online banking than ever before. The biggest problem that they had with it, some of their customers were just afraid that they wouldn't understand it. When they would call the store for a copy of an invoice or ask any question, I train their people so that, hey, don't buy them a fish dinner. Let's teach them how to fish. Take them to the site one time, show them how easy it is, and they've done that. Their customer usage on eOffice is off the charts. It's one of the biggest customers I have for using it. They're practically sending no statements out by snail mail. They've done a great job in sending out some letters and getting this set up. So you can accomplish what you want to do.
Did it answer your question, Dave?
Yes.
Okay. Payam, I know you had a question. What?
Yeah, I just have a
what's your
question on the admin side. Okay, on the admin side for our counterman, is there a way to do a part number search where I can type in a part number and it shows me which customers have purchased that part number?
Not which customers.
Yes.
You can search a part number by a customer, but I can't search a part number by all customers.
Okay. So I can search a part number by customer.
Right. If you notice, if you're still looking at my screen here, and I apologize, I should have shown this. Okay, you or the customer can recall any invoice number, any part number, any reference number, PO number, even a description and unique selling price. So if I got guys that have paid for clinics and they're all $100 and I want to make sure this guy paid for it, I can search by $100 and see if who paid it. Okay.
So pretty much the search option for the part number is after you select the actual customer. There's you have to actually select the customer, and then when you're under the customer, that option right there that I'm looking at will pop up, right? Search by part number. There's no range. I can't search from this customer to this number to this customer number. It just
no. Usually those kind of sophisticated searches are on the management system.
Okay. All right.
Now I'll tell you another feature that we did I've got one customer who one of the problems that he had is he has a generic customer number for his cash accounts. And people would come in to return stuff and they wouldn't know He couldn't have an invoice. He didn't know if they really bought it there. So what he did is that every customer that came in, he asked them for the last 4 digits of their phone number, and that's what he would use. That's what he would use as a PO number on a cash invoice. So now when he went to the cash customer inside, because remember, we're sending up all the cash invoices as well. All he would do is search by the PO number, use the last 4 digits of that guy's phone number, and it would pull up every invoice that guy bought. If nothing else, you're knowing if he's a pretty good customer. You could find out when he bought stuff. It would be very easily to search it.
Oh, wow. That's a good idea. Yeah. All right, very good.
Great, thanks, Payam. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to press your little raise your hand button. If not, Charlie wants to have just a word or two here at the end, and we'll go from there.
Well, guys, once again, thank you for attending. I hope we were able to answer any questions that you might have. If you'd like to have a one-on-one demonstration, or you want to have some more specific questions about pricing or how it's going to affect your business, you can call into this 800 number and ask for anyone in the sales department, and we can help you. Or, of course, you can email us at sales@autologue.com. Most of our emails are simply our first name at autologue.com, so if you want to reach out to us individually, you can email us that way as well. So having said that, again, thank you for joining.
We have one more question. Mike, did you have a question, Mike Lucas?
Yeah. Yeah, I just had one question about the undos. You know, when I undo a ticket, it shows the bill and the undo in my, you know, when I lease the part number or whatever. Is that going to show on the customer, or will an undo just be totally erased from his queue or whatever he looks at?
Actually, both of them should be up on the site, but very quickly when you undo it, you can go in here and delete both copies.
Okay, because I have accounts that don't like to see the credits. I know it's weird and annoying. It's just, you know, it's one thing I put up with for one of my big accounts. They can't have negatives in their thing.
I absolutely agree. Anytime there was a credit, a debit that equaled itself out, I wanted to get it off my customer's account too, because a lot of times the big customers will take the credit, and they won't pay the bill because they said they sent it back. Well,
yeah, they want double credit for it, exactly.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, been there.
Awesome. So I can delete undos. That's great.
Correct.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Guys.
Any other questions from anyone? Otherwise, I see one more hand just went up. Nick?
Yeah, Nick, go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing? Just curious. So we're going to have like a pick ticket actually print out, and would this system work if our drivers aren't running on like a tablet type of signature capture system, or, you know, how does it technically work?
It still prints an invoice, okay? It still prints a paper invoice. There's a couple of different ways of doing things, okay? I don't think our industry is ever going to be able to go completely paperless. So it prints the invoice. It's just sending a copy of that PDF and all the data up on our site that we parse, okay? If you're using tablets for delivery, okay, and our e-delivery management program, which we will have a webinar for that as well, basically, if you have a dispatcher or a driver that sends, or a counterman that sends out your drivers, he could select the invoice that he wants to send out, send them to the driver's tablet. The driver would get out to that customer, tap on that invoice on the tablet, and it would expose a sign sheet screen. The customer could sign that screen, and we'll take that delivery signature and pop that up on there as well, okay? And so instead of we don't superimpose the invoice or the signature on the invoice. It's a proof of delivery signature, just like UPS.
Gotcha. So if we're not running with tablets and we're sending it out on a paper ticket, there's like we scan these tickets back into the system, and that's how it captures the signature.
Like I said, there's 3 ways.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, there's 3 ways to get the signature up there. If you're on a delivery tablet, the signature will automatically go up if he signs the ticket. We have some customers who basically manage their own deliveries. They don't want to do a delivery program, so basically what they do, if they want, And it all depends. In my stores, if I didn't have a signed copy, I didn't get paid. Okay? So, but there's some stores that it's okay. If they have a copy of the invoice, that's all they need. But if your customers need a signed copy, what you can do, and it's about a $140 scanner that will scan 40 or 50 invoices at a time. It scans them to a file, and then we provide you with what's called an invoice uploader program that actually reads the barcode on the invoice, sends the copy of the scanned copy right up to the site and attaches it to the correct invoice. The store that I was just logged into has 70 locations, and they're scanning at every location because they want scanned signed copies online. Some of their customers come in and sign the tickets at the store. They don't have signature capture devices. Some of them are delivered. They scan 100%. And it's not like you're creating a new job, because these scanners just will do 50, 100 documents at a time, and it's just the press of a button that loads them. It's not like you're doing a whole lot of work. And now you've got complete AR backup in the cloud of everything that your people owe, of all your signed copies. You don't have to file anything. You don't have to get up off your desk if you get a question to go look up an invoice in the file cabinet. I had customers where I sometimes had to fax the same invoice to them 2 and 3 times before I got paid. And I used to mark, scanned on this, there's faxed on this date, faxed on this date, faxed on this date. I would have loved to have this when I had my stores.
Great. Yeah, that's exactly what we're kind of looking for. I mean, I don't think we're ready to move over to the tablets just yet. So I wanted to make sure that there was a way to, like I said, we like having the signed copies for that same reason. We don't get paid if we don't have a signed copy. So the fact that we just put it in a scanner and it uploads it right to the system. What does it do? It like recognizes the account number and then knows where it knows where to put it.
The barcode is actually your store identification, the customer number, the invoice number, and the date. Okay? And that's how it reads it, and just automatically attaches it. And if you are scanning, okay, a big thing in my stores, every night before close, all the invoices had to be put in order, because I wanted to know which invoices I was missing. Because if one of my drivers left an invoice at a customer site, that's the one that they called for to get a copy of that I didn't have a signed copy for. So the whole idea in the admin options screen of having a missing scans is I want to see every charge account, charge invoice that I'm missing a copy of. And if I don't have that invoice, I'm reprinting it and getting it signed the very next day for the guy.
Gotcha. And one last question. I mean, if we're on an AutoEase system, is the to implement this, is it a big process? I mean, or is it pretty easy if we're already on that system to pick up all that data and set this up?
Once we get the software installed on the AutoEase system and we get it set up, it's seamless. It just automatically works. Every invoice that's created automatically goes up. Okay.
Thank you.
The setup process on eOffice really is very minimal. You're going to set up some messaging that's going to go ahead of emails, and then you're going to set up some email addresses. And then once the system is communicating to eOffice, everything just kind of happens automatically. Nick, thank you for that question. And just to be clear, you don't have to have a signature capture device if you want to utilize eOffice. You can scan them, or you can use those devices. It's not a requirement. And in fact, we have some customers that don't even put signed copies up. They only have the original copy going up there. So the system will work. That's just an added feature that you can take advantage of or not. And then the way you get them up is going to be your choice. So any other questions from anybody?
Well, there's one thing that I also would like to address too. If there, obviously, questions come first. Go ahead.
I don't see if there's Steve. Any questions?
Nobody has any questions. I can say one thing real quick. Nick, you had a question about, I believe, the implementation of this. What we capture when you first start using eOffice, as a rule, we capture all of the invoices that you have in your reprint file. That will give us as much historical data as we can get. So it's not going to just start out the day you start. We'll capture some older invoices somebody from AutoEase could address that a little bit better than me. That's a little more technical than I am, but generally we try to capture as much of your old data as possible, however far back that goes. You would know that better than me. If you can reprint an invoice that's 6 months old, then that'll go. So that's how we start you out.
And to go one step further, if you don't have an invoice reprint file, if you can create a report that has invoice information, many times we can upload that for a starting point. Okay, if you're still printing dot matrix invoices, and obviously it's a challenge sometimes to put a barcode on a dot matrix invoice, we could send up what's called a generic text invoice as well, so that don't think that you can't have this if you're still doing dot matrix, because you can. The best feature is when you do have laser and customers really can see a reprint of that actual invoice. It's dynamite. And once they're hooked, they're bugging your competition to get the same thing, because a lot of these guys that pay their bills at night, there's no way for them to contact you at night to get a copy of an invoice. So then their options are either delay paying the bill or pay the bill less that invoice, which is always a pain because you're trying to figure out if they're a balance forward account, which invoice they didn't pay. With eOffice, you generally get paid quicker and more complete.
Sounds good. Actually, one more just came to my mind when we were doing this. Is there a way that if they're looking, say you were quoting invoices out, and they wanted to jump in without calling you to relook at the quote, could they go into their admin site and actually pull up the quote and look at it, or does it have to be invoiced to actually pop up in their admin screen?
Correct. We only send up finalized tickets.
Right.
Now, again, there's some things that some customers have requested, and the way we've done it. Give me back the screen for 1 second. Okay. You'll notice, and I'm in this particular customer's invoice or invoice recall screen, and when I go to this one invoice that has a credit, and I attached a document to that invoice, if there's a specific quote or a specific document or a work order or something that you want to attach to a particular invoice, you can attach another image to an invoice that doesn't have a barcode or anything else from the admin screen. You just scan whatever you want to scan, save it to your desktop, name it what you want, and then label it, and it'll find it. Well, actually, I'll show you if we go into back to the admin screen. I'll go into that particular customer. Now I'm in as an administrator, okay? And when I go to that customer, who I happen to know is 632, or I could have typed in his name, which was Bournes, okay? And I'm going to go right to his invoice recall. When I go to that particular item that I want to attach something to, I basically scan it, and you'll notice down at the bottom of the page, I can add a new image to this invoice. So I can add multiple image and multiple documents to any invoice I want. So if somebody has a requirement that they have to attach a quote to the actual invoice so that there's no question that what he was quoted for, what he was billed, you could do that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you guys. If there's no other questions, we're gonna end the webinar now. Thank you very much. We are going to continue these webinars on some of our other e-products, so look for invitations on that. And then again, if you need us, just give a call or an email into us in the sales department, and we'll answer any questions we can. So again, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to everybody soon.